So I'm hoping that this live stream works today. Oh yes, it's working. I can see the chat. I can see that there are people on board. That's fantastic. Hi Tom, hi Susan, hello Ronnie, Madeline, hi, hello Tish, and Trisha, and Catherine, and Ruth. Shalom Ruth, thanks for joining. Hello Audrey. Hasn't it, Mark, hi, hasn't it been a while? I'm so relieved it's working. I can't believe it. It's great. Hi, Natalie. So, here we are. Hello, Mary Ellen. Hello, Carrie. That's enough. It looks pretty. I hope you're not talking about me. Okay, let me show you. Hello, Gary. Kate. So, welcome, everybody. And here we are on the Keizersgracht. Hello, Traveller L. Welcome. Oh, look, they're picking up the trash. Oh, thank you, Tish. Yeah, so I've had a good break, and after the thing that didn't work last week, here we are. What do you mean no sound? I'm assuming that sounds fine. Good. Okay. So yeah, just so I know, for those of you, if anyone's joined, I can see people are still joining. So here I am, looking the same, more or less. Hi everybody. And let's get on with it, shall we? So we're carrying on along the Keizersgracht, and of course now all the leaves are on the trees and we can't see the buildings as much. Oh, thank goodness it's not raining. Hey Satyam, hi. And yeah, so I'm kind of eager to get away from the canal belt soon because the buildings are obscured. But I have this kind of thing, like I'm just about finished this one section, so I'm kind of carrying on with it. But now I've got to try not to get people in shot now. So this, I don't know, maybe they were. So there's a lot of things in bloom at the moment, and this house here always has a lovely display. Isn't it delightful? Oops, ow, I just walked into a tow hitch of a car. Oh. Check out this for a wonderful entrance. So there's hydrangeas, there's roses, all this kind of stuff. Now this is the first house that I want to talk about. It's number 240, Keizersgracht. Let's just show you the top. Has a lovely Louis XV gable. Gorgeous, isn't it? So anyway, look, this house, let's be fair. I mean, it looks pretty ordinary. I mean, it's beautiful, but it does look pretty ordinary. And you know what that means. That means there's got to be something pretty spectacular inside. It has remarkable wall paintings inside that were only discovered in 1968. So that's quite something, really. And they were discovered behind wall coverings. Get a close up of the roses. So yeah, during a renovation, hello Annette, welcome, thanks for joining. You know, during a renovation in 1968, let me see, these different, I'm afraid I've only got black and white photos from the city archive. Actually, I saw a lady sitting on, the doors open last week. And I said, oh, you know, I'd give anything to go inside and take some photographs of the paintings, on the wall paintings. And she's laughed and she said, no, it's not her house, so she can't let me. But yeah, imagine having a house and having some, you know, restoration done and getting all of this. Now let's have a look at here and what's happening over here. Here you have Europe with a crown, of course. Asia with a turban. There's America with an Indian headdress, or a Native American headdress, I should probably say, and Africa with a man with a lion just painted on the wall of a house. And I've got another couple. Here's another one. And this, what is this showing? Oh, this is plenty. You see the horn of plenty over there. So that's because a reference to, of course, the so-called golden age here, which was so plentiful for the few. And here's another one, just behind these windows up there, can you believe it? And we have, there's certainly trade, and we have Mercury's staff. And as you know from joining my tours, Mercury's staff with the serpents is not just about medicine, it's also about trade. So, the top part of the building's intact with the wind. Yeah, well, the buildings, they withstand that. So let's carry on a little bit down. 242 to 252 is the next section that we have here. And these are the two main buildings of that. Oh, look at this beast. My goodness. It's like a caravan on wheels. How's that? Honda Goldwing. You know, my favorite uncle, when I was about 7, had a Honda Goldwing, and he'd take me for rides on it. I'd sit in front of him. Oh, it was wonderful. Amazing. Okay, so check out this big old building here. It's a very dramatic gable because we can't quite see it, which is why I have a photograph of it here. So this is what it looks like. I took this from the opposite side of the canal, and there's 2 of these, okay? 2 of these right next to each other. So it's a double house. It's called the Grote Keizer, the Great Emperor. And it was squatted on the 1st of November, 1979. Now the buildings here in front of us were owned by an international electric supplier then. But they kept them vacant. And the reason for this is because of property speculation. You know, if they just kept something vacant, it could deteriorate, and you could try and get permission to break it down and then build something new. Oh, Susan, it was a beautiful blue sky day that day. So what happened, it was squatted, and there was a court order that the squatters had to get out, but they didn't. They built barricades and they settled in for a fight. They actually welded the doors and the windows shut. There's metal bars and sheets over things. So quite something. And they drummed up a huge amount of public support. And that was done through pirate listen to me, pirate radio stations. I've got half a brain today. Now the council didn't really feel up to a fight, so what they did is the city council actually bought the buildings and they absorbed them into the public housing pool. And now the buildings, not just these 2, some more, like going all the way up to 252, are run by Emere. That's Y-M-E-R-E. And that's a housing association which manages our buildings for what we call social housing or public housing here. That means protected rents. Now, it's very unusual to have this type of property here, you know, on such a grand canal as this, in the social housing pool. I mean, it's fantastic, and I love it. I think that's fantastic. You know, such a prime location. And, you know, with affordable rents. And to qualify for this type of housing, you have to be earning less than about 40,000 euros a year and wait 19 years in Amsterdam to qualify. And what I think is quite charming is because these people are kind of probably the old squatter communities, they have a ladder here going down into the canal, because obviously somebody goes, and the lad has been here for years, goes for a morning swim. I presume it's a morning swim, and they need to get out. So yeah, great use of the place. Now, let me show you a photograph of this when it was being squatted in those years. So here's a photo of the building. Lee seemed to have lost the chat, but oh, there, the chat's back. And there's a line from a poem that was written after the Second World War, and this was applied to the energy suppliers. So if the people, basically it's saying if people give in to tyrants, they lose more than their life and their house. The lights go out, meaning, you know, all hope is lost. Now this was a time of enormous militancy in Amsterdam in the squatting scene. Oh yeah, people swim in the canals. And there were other clashes in the city, most notably when Queen Beatrix became queen. So she was a princess before. And there was a terrible, terrible housing shortage, yet huge amounts of money was spent renovating the palace on Dam Square where nobody even lived. So what the squatting community did is had massive, great big protests with placards or saying geen woning, geen kroning. So if there's no place for living, then there should be no coronation. Anyway, it was a very, very, very dramatic day. Look at the house though. So this is the one with the two gables. And an interesting thing, you see the doors are on the extreme ends of it, and this wall here is the central wall of the building. And what this meant is that they could put the fireplaces back to back in this house and those types of services. So it was quite cleverly thought out as far as a building construction went. Okie dokie. What have we got next? Next we have a building with some coats of arms at the top, and I did a zoom-in picture of them so you can see what they look like. Very pretty. So we've got a bark, and then it looks like half a Habsburg eagle, and then of course we have a griffin. Is it a griffin or a griffith? I always forget. I never remember. Griffith, griffin, griffin. I think it's a griffin. Don't worry, it's not the quiz question. Okay. So what have we next? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful building. It's wonderful, you know, how good condition it's all in. But then this is all part of the social housing, you see. So the great big social housing landlord, Aimera, you know, has the money to look after these sort of national monuments. Okay, for some reason we should stop at this one. 254. Oh, I remember why. Okay, so a sandstone facade, meaning showing off how rich they were by importing all their building material. Here at the top, we have a raised cornice gable and very handsome building. I don't know why it's half a wing on that crest. I'm not sure. I couldn't find any further information out about it. Here, and the fan light above the building, you'll see it says there, it says KK357, which is the old street numbering. But what's special about this one, slightly unusual, does happen elsewhere in the street, is the balusters. So a really nice little delicate metal, but looks like a rope handrail. And then the balusters, the feet are tripods. Okay, so that's a little bit different, and they're in really good condition. What a handsome leg, isn't it? Right. Detailed Amsterdam. Let's find some details. Hoi. Dankjewel. There's a nice looking gable top up here. Check out this one. I didn't have enough to pay for 2 wings. I hope the stream quality is good. It looks brilliant on my screen. Looks like it's not a pineapple. Obviously, it's a feather. It's a great big feather. Looks like a pony in front of a cookie jar. Yeah, try to zoom out a bit. There we go. Okie dokie. 264. This building, it really isn't it's not looking its best at the moment. It's a bit of a mess, really. It's under renovation. But let's have a closer look. So up the top we have a cornice gable. We've got Ionian pilasters with the volute sticking out a little bit. So what we have here is this is neoclassicism, and it's built in 1876. And it was built as a municipal girls' school. Just zoom out a bit. Municipal girls' school. Now, I found it quite amazing when I researched this. I couldn't believe it, that girls only attended high school from 1871. And that in itself was like not a given, that was only with special permission. Wait for this, ladies, I hope you're sitting down. The aim of the school was education of girls to complement civilized men. Okay, can you believe it? These are wires hanging down. The wires hanging down, not cracks. To educate girls to complement civilized men. After that, it became an institute for social history. It has social history library, and that was sold by the municipality just 2 years ago. So it's being renovated, probably into apartments, I would guess. And I just saw somebody just opened the door of the house in front of me, and I saw the most beautiful, interesting chandelier, and unfortunately the door's closed, damn it. Okay, now something else a bit different. Outside the house next door is this. Now, there's a few stories about this. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but it's a chain hanging, yeah? Okay, so 268 Kaiserstracht is known as the house with the chain, okay, and that's what it means. The chain. This is an old story from the 1600s. There was a merchant that bought these buildings, and he had his possessions brought from far away, a faraway town. He had them brought in a cart, and most of them were stolen or fell off or something. But when the cart arrived, some of his possessions were still on the cart, and they were chained on. So what he did is he had that chain, a bit of that chain gilded, so made gold, and then hung outside. So that is the one story. And then there are a couple of other explanations that he actually gave a golden chain to his wife after having been away. And she didn't like it. So she threw it out of the window and it got stuck on a nail. Must be said, this is not the original chain, okay? So that's another story. Or there's another story that it was a present given to a maid, because the maid had apparently prevented an attack on her mistress. But the maid felt unable, not worthy of accepting such a handsome gift, so which was hung outside on the facade. So I will leave that. You can decide which one you think is true. Okay, and let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so this is still the house of the chain that we're talking about. In 1971, it became a hotel, and it was closed down almost immediately because it didn't pass the fire services, which you really want to do. These two buildings here, actually. And it was squatted, of course, huge squatting movement here by normal squatters. But then it was taken over by a very sort of militant criminal group, hardcore criminals. And what they did is that they created into some sort of a fort. They stripped the buildings of everything of value, including the lead on the roof, by the way. And then eventually these two buildings were bricked up by the city. That was in 1996. And in 1998 they collapsed. And they were rebuilt in similar style. So here's some old photos from the city archive. This is something that happened in the building, so it was clearly used at some point by Philips, that's the electrical company. And this was a demonstration room. Okay, demonstrating their electricery. And then here's another photograph of it. Let me see, I'll move the photo to the side. So there you can see in both cases the white building, but here you can see how that building collapsed. Very dramatic. And it was built in a similar sort of style. There you go. Okie dokie. Now, let's walk a bit. I'm not sure if you can hear the seagull. During COVID, I really realized that the seagull was the background sound of Amsterdam, because that's all we could hear walking around. Oh, look. There's a detail above here I didn't notice before. Let me just try and zoom in for you. It's like some Masonic symbolism. Very pretty. That's a beautiful window, isn't it? Look at that detail. Really added to with the reflection of the tree, eh? Okay. Now, let's pick out a few more pretty details for you. I like this one as well. Looks like there's a chandelier just behind also. I'm not in the habit of doing these tours, as you know, it's been about 4 weeks. But if you like it, and you could like it, that would be great. And if once the video's up, you could say something underneath, that would be even greater. What have we here? The Zoutberg, the Salt Mountain, or the Salt Hill. That refers to a building on the opposite side, actually, which we're going to get to in just a bit. And then, of course, there's this building here, and as my luck would have it, it has a scaffold around it. But that happened last week as well. But thankfully, I had to, the week before, I'd come and taken some photographs of it, so I can show you those. Okay, what a beautiful scaffold. So, let me show you a photo of this building here. It's not quite from the same angle, but here it is. So very different. And my arm's getting tired of holding this gimbal. Okay, so number 300 Kaisersgracht, Le Corbusier, how do you say it? Le Corbusier inspired. This is from 1955, and it was built for a soap factory. And it was a modern take, you know, on a canal house. You can see what they were going for. I think it's quite nice, actually, you know, and I think it doesn't work badly. You can see the idea. And then here's a photo from a slightly different angle up at the top. So it's like a take on a cornice gable, you know, but different. Yeah, it has a roof garden. Beautiful. I would give anything to live up there. How great would that be? Oh! Okay. So, okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'm just going to take a little stroll up this way and then walk down the other side of the canal and do that side of it. And I mustn't forget, when I was coming here earlier on my scooter, I saw that the slicey that I put out last week is still here. So the slicey's been here for a week, and I forgot it's somewhere along here. I think it's definitely not down there. So it's somewhere along here on the side in one of these little gardens. And I have a brain like a sieve, so I forgot to show you on the way down. So let's not forget now. So these are the ones we'll be looking at. I'm just going to zoom in and show you the eagle on the top of this building, because it's nice to see it from opposite. Let's try and get some horizon behind. Pretty cool, eh? So let's go slicey hunting. I think it's up over there, but we'll see. I'm gonna have to be walking up and down if I don't find it. Yeah, it's funny, you know, sometimes I've put slices out and then I've seen them for ages. And sometimes not. Now I hope it's here, otherwise I'm going to have to go all the way back. Oh, it's going to fly up my nose. Is it here? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. This is it. There's just some people carrying a piece of furniture right there. So I just let them pass. No, they're gonna. Okay, we're gonna go zooming in for the slicer. You ready? Okay, here goes. There you go. Phew. My heart sang. Okay. And one of the things I'm going to be walking by is the bottom of this building with the sun at the top. Oh, come on, zoom. How's that for an amazing gable? Okay. So, back to work. Very happy garden. Okay. So the houses on this side weren't as forthcoming with information. Grumpy son. But here is the groene. Oh, let's see if it's still here. No. So, I don't want to get too close to these people's house, but it says the groene druif. And, oh no, before I show you the groene druif, there's a lion up here. There's a hoisting beam, which is a lion's head, and there's the hook. What do you say? Here's a photograph. So it has a ring in its mouth, where you would hook the pulley over for hoisting. Never seen one like that before. And then when this is actually quite a wide house. The groene druif, the green grape. And earlier I was here and I was looking through this window here, and there was the most lovely dog, and I took a photograph of him. So I was checking out this dog and we were having a little bonding moment. Oops, he's gone all skew. So how cute is that? Shoot, I can't get it off the screen. Okay, now this building was built in 1631 and then it was renovated in 1740. Now the top floor, so talking up there, yeah, there's a 68 square meter flat. 68 square meters, for those of you who work in feet, is 732 square feet. So it's 2 bedrooms, and it sold just a couple of years ago for 875,000 euros. That's almost 13,000 per square meter, or 1.2 thousand euros per square foot. So here is a picture of the interior, somewhere here anyway. Oh, here we go. So this is what it looks like, looking out over the canal. And then obviously the rooms are further back. So I could be happy there. Could definitely be happy there. I could be happy almost anywhere though. So how's about that? And then of course there's the one with the sun, and I just showed you the sun. Here's the sun up there, and here's the grumpy sun again for you to see as a close-up. It is indeed a grumpy sun. I never really noticed that before. I wonder what would make the sun so grumpy. Oops. Okay. What have we next? Number 247. Yeah. Okay, so look, you can see here, maybe if I go just a little bit this way, you can see the 2 very grand gables of the great and the grote keizer, the great emperor. There's these ones here, eh? That, believe it or not, are public housing. Amazing. Okay, right. Oh, that's zoomed out too much now. That looks better. Okay, 247 is the next one on my list. Let's go and find that. 243, another incredibly wide house, 5 windows wide. Man. Oh, here we go. 247, which doesn't look particular. Oh, there, that's why. Because I researched this 2 weeks ago, so kind of forgotten why. This is of significance, but up there on the gable is this. Is right up at the top, on top of the house. So it has a Louis XIV gable with a with a bust of Prince Maurits, and that's who we're looking at here. The bust of Prince Maurits. Now, who the hell was Prince Maurits? Well, he was the son of William the Silent, Prince of Orange. Now, he is considered the father of the Dutch nation because he is the prince who rallied the Dutch towns to band together and to rebel against the Spanish Habsburg tyranny. And so that's William the Silent. The Prince of Orange. They call him William the Silent because it came to his knowledge that Philip II of Spain was going to slaughter the Dutch Protestant Dutch nobles, and he didn't tell anyone about it, and he warned them. And then he switched sides. Now, he was assassinated in 1585, and Maurits was his son, and Maurits then led the troops in the Dutch revolt. He was in charge from 1585 to 1623. I'm just reading your comments, Natalie. So this Maurits died at the age of 57. He consolidated power in The Hague. And actually the Maurits House Museum is named after him. As are some islands in the Indian Ocean, the islands of Mauritius. And believe it or not, the Hudson River was actually originally named the Maurits River. And then they decided to call it the Hudson River instead. So. I'm not actually aware of the current Prince Maurits, Natalie. I'm ashamed to say, is it somebody I should know about? Okay, next one, 269. So, you know, there's so many special details here, but they just become, you know, one after the other, and they're all so nice. They kind of start blending into one. Okay. 261. I don't have anything researched about this building, but it's got a beautiful, beautiful crest up at the top. Let's see how well this zoom works for you. Check that out. It must cost such a fortune to keep these buildings in such good condition, you know. Quite remarkable. Dat zal ik doen, Natalie. Dat zal ik doen. Dat zal ik zeker doen. Okay, yet another pretty building. Just more pretty buildings. And this has that same half crest of the half eagle and something on the other side of it. So maybe half's on one side of the canal and half's on the other side of the canal. Here we go. This is the next one. Oh, with this beautiful kind of lantern above the door. Check it out. I love these lanterns. Now, what's remarkable about this building is what's inside it. 30 wall paintings, 30 big ones. And here I have, okay, here are just a couple of them. Come on. A few of them, 4 of them. So you can get the sort of idea. But yeah, just like that, a house with 30 great big paintings on the walls. Amazing, huh? And it's not even a museum, it's just a house. You could live there. Okay. And now we've got a bunch of strange buildings, you know, a bit modern looking. This one here, this is the one that has the eagle on the top that I showed you from opposite. And here's a photograph I took on that same sunny day. So this is from 1956, and it was built for the Dutch Credit Insurance Company. Exciting stuff, I know. But you know, the Dutch, we Dutch, are like some of the most overinsured people in the world. So, huge company. It's moved somewhere else, but this was their building. And I think they just had about all the next 3 or 4 buildings were all part of that company. So they're pretty modern. There's nothing particularly special about it, except here, this is it. This is the next thing to look at, the elephants. So the elephants were probably part of the previous building, but they kept them as a sort of a special detail all the way along. And you know, if this is about credit insurance, elephants, my assumption is that they would be representing something like stability, sturdiness and stability, you know, have that type of meaning. And then here again, a very similar building in style and size, because it was the same company. And now it's some other business university. And the gable stone. Hey ho, we have a gable stone. So let's zoom in. Now what we have here is something that says the Salt Mountain, Salt. And this was a present from the staff of the Dutch Credit Insurance Company. And that was, no one watches the building. The windows. Yeah, this was a present from those people, the Dutch Credit Insurance Company, for the opening of this new office building. And the Salt Mountain here, what that represented in this context was well-managed capital. And the dodo, extinct dodo on the left, represents international trade. Okay. Don't shoot me, I'm only the messenger. That's just what the website all about Gablestone says. Okay. And here we have another building and another Gablestone. And yep, you got it. This is another building of the Dutch Credit Insurance Company. Seriously. And this Gablestone here was found in 1990 being used as the cover for a well. And the credit company thought it suited their, you know, their image well to have a gilded candlestick protected by drapery. So they chose to have that here. Why not? Whew, so there you are. We've done another block of the Keizersgracht. And here's the Jumbo or Jumbo, which is one of the supermarket chains. It's the one I prefer. And that's where I'm going to buy a frozen pizza to take home in just a moment. So it's time for the quiz. And I was thinking today of a quiz question. Now the rules of the quiz are if you have a slicey, you're not allowed to answer. Is that clear? Okay. If you have a slicey, you cannot answer. So the quiz is only open to people who don't have sliceys. And you can't win it and nominate it to someone else. Okay. Now, the quiz question today is, I showed you a house with a chain outside. Okay. There's a house with a decorative chain outside. And there were 3 different stories associated with the chain, as legend has it. One of those stories involved the man giving a gold chain to his wife. My question is, what did she do with it? The man came home, he gave a gold chain to his wife, and what did she do with it? You can answer in your head or at home, just not in the chat, okay? Uh, so anyone who doesn't have a slide C, you've got a little bit of time to say, what did the lady who didn't want the gold chain do with it? Mo, as far as I can see, Mo got it. I don't think there's anyone above Mo, but sometimes my chat isn't correct. So congratulations, Mo. She did indeed throw it out the window. Now, Mo, I don't believe you have a slicey yet, so you are welcome to reach out to me by emails. My email address is in the description, and I will post that off to you. And slicey dictator. So thanks for joining, everybody. If you want to leave a donation, I do appreciate it a lot. It's very motivating. I plan to do, I'm hopefully back on the weekly cycle now. I've got a hell of a busy week coming up, but I've got a day or so where I can work on preparing next week's one. So thank you so much for joining, and thanks for remembering me, and like the video, and you take care, and see you in a week. I will end this with a nice view of the gracht. That's a pleasure, everybody. Bye.